Let's go. All right.
I mean, that's a pretty epic trailer.
So
it's a pretty epic teaser.
Yes, we did edit that with the Godzilla 2014 teaser voiceover. Nick did it. Nick beat me to it because that's actually what I wanted to do.
Thank you, Nick.
You shout out to Nick's side. It's one of the best in the business.
Very best.
So now we have the official title, which is Godzilla minus one.
I know how you feel about it.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, if they're trying to do like an origin, I don't want to say an origin, but like kind of like a first movie, I guess it makes sense. I do get what you're saying. Like, why not just call it Godzilla Zero? Like, but I guess -1 is being artistic. I will tell you that trailer, that teaser, that's hype. That makes me see, like, you say it doesn't, but I think it does. It makes me feel like it feels like a classic movie. Just by the initial trailer, only because like we're getting so much exposure with this new wave of MonsterVerse movies, you know, GVK and Godzilla 19, 2014, like you get all these like new feel movies. This feels like almost like the way it just feels like a classic movie. And I know you've pointed out you could say no, it's okay. Well, your opinion doesn't matter.
Well, well, when you say classic, see, like to me, classic would be like if it was a guy in a suit.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Because the design is already CGI, which I knew.
You're not getting. I hate to say it, buddy. You're not getting a guy in a rubber suit.
It's never gonna happen.
It's not happening.
Shin Godzilla was
the last.
No, Shin Godzilla was all CGI.
Really?
Yes. They created a mechanical puppet that they never used. Shin Godzilla is completely CGI.
Good CGI.
Well, yes and no. It's good when they made him a lumbering nothing, so it works. But then there are some.
You remember our trip to the Alamo for that one?
Yes, I do. It was fantastic.
Shout out to Alamo Drafthouse.
Alamo
Sponsor
Draft
us.
Well, that's actually Mondo, and they won't sponsor us because Spiral Toy.
Damn.
Or sponsor us. Let's
we'll take it.
Alamo Drafthouse the best, but so. If you had ever seen the Coffee Boss trailer, which was just a commercial, they literally sell coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They had actually done like a remastering or reenactment of Godzilla 54 where they built a suit and this commercial came out amazing. And they enhanced it with CGI. Like it was, if there was anything where it was like, this might come back, it was that commercial. So I'm a little sad to see that obviously it's not coming back. Mm-hmm. They don't want to build the miniatures anymore. It's just way like it's budget friendly. It's unfortunately Ultraman seems to be the only way we're ever going to get Tokusatsu, and it's
a guy in a suit
like and miniature sets.
It's not a popular tool used anymore, really. Miniatures aren't really like the go-to way of doing things, except for like really like I know they still use them for a lot of like action movies, but most of the time, like if you look at like in terms of like action movie usage of like action sequences and explosions and things like that, you're talking about like James Bond and Mission Impossible. They still use like James Bond is totally okay with blowing up an Aston Martin. They have that kind of budget.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, like I feel like this could have benefited from miniatures. Again, we're only talking about a 30-second teaser, but I think I love it. I love this Godzilla design. Yeah, I really do.
It's awesome to see like this director had this, came out with Always Sunset on 3rd Street 2, which if you're not familiar with that, YouTube it, check it out. Basically, the opening title sequence was his Godzilla design, which is heavily based off of GMK. He's got the white eyes, very similar in body structure. But it was really cool. Like the CGI wasn't great, but it was passable. And like in that little clip, he gave Godzilla a lot of character. Like he's got this head movement and everything. So it was like, wow, Godzilla looks alive, so to speak. And then Godzilla the Ride, which I am so fortunate to have actually experienced. That's going amazing. To Japan.
I wish.
And they took it down. It's actually, they replaced it with new Ultraman went in there.
Sad
So
about that.
I mean, it was up for a couple years, but it's pretty awesome. Like we didn't go like, oh, it's closing. Like we went and then
just
a month later, it was like, oh, by the way, we're replacing this with Ultraman the ride, which is pretty cool. But
Bill says he's been tweaking this design for about a decade.
Yeah, so now you have it in Godzilla the ride. I believe ride is the drink word. Ride.
Are we riding?
Ride. Which is very much a and this is another word where I disagree where you say this is classical. To me, this is a legendary and high-sci smashed together baby. Which works. I do like the design, and I really like the tweaks that they made on the final version.
I love the spikes.
But
give me all those giant spikes, man.
I do wish Toho would... This is like another opportunity where Toho, once again, seems to also have no interest in their like classics, because Godzilla 2000, Yuji Sakai developed what was supposed to be the suit, and it was heavily based off of Godzilla 62. It was like a modern take on that, and then that got scrapped. So now here again, this is supposed to be a movie prequel before 54.
So this movie's supposed to take place before 54?
Yes.
So it's before the bomb goes off, or just after?
Anyone in the chat have confirmation on that?
I think it's supposed to be right after.
No, it's definitely before 54.
No, I mean I'm sure it's before 54, but I think the movie's supposed to take place just after the bombings of World War II.
And supposedly there's also rumors that there's the two bombs, because there's Hiroshima and then
Nagasaki.
There's So supposedly there's
That's what I'm saying.
Another monster that's created from that one.
Okay.
Allegedly. Again,
that's kind of cool.
These are rumors. But we don't know if it's...
So this is why I'm saying it's kind of like it's a more classical feeling Godzilla movie, because you're just not like you're not getting all this like fluff in the beginning, I guess. Like based on what you see, it's like it feels like you're watching a more retro, for lack of a better word, Godzilla movie.
So Bill caps it perfect for us.
Yeah. Bill, you're the best. Bill, thank you.
Let's throw it up there.
We're going to throw it up there.
So just after the bomb, when Japan was at their lowest point, aka 0.
Yeah.
And now when Godzilla shows up, they're at -1.
I hope that's 100% true.
Though
really that makes perfect sense.
That's what the trailer kind of gives you the vibe.
Yeah.
So Wonder X, is this in the continuity? I'm gonna say no. I kind of feel like this is its own. This is like an official, real reboot that hopefully can lead to other movies, unlike Shin Godzilla, where it's just a complete one-off.
So this will be kind of like a parallel franchise next to.
Yeah, they've done that franchise. A lot. Like usually a lot of the movies always reference the original one.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's kind of in regards like this is
the
original.
OG. Yeah, this is the original story.
But the design is,
I mean,
awesome. Let's get a full shot.
I just love the spines, man. I never thought I would see like Godzilla and be like, yo, those spines are sick.
Like, look at this boy.
Yeah, big boy.
Look at this boy.
It's so cool. It really is. Like, I love the big spines. We were talking about like the evolution of the style and how like the ride version, he's more like, he almost seems more humanoid. Like his pecs are more defined, his biceps are more defined. He's
a thick boy.
Yeah, he's a thick boy. I made that comment to you about his feet. His feet are fucking gigantic.
I like that the feet are kind of like a hybrid of. Does he have? I can't tell if he actually has 5 toes.
So that was my thing. I was looking at this picture and I'm like, and I remember saying it to myself, like, does he have 5 or 4 toes?
We got another shot. Let's see.
See if we got another angle.
We got all this. I can't really tell.
No,
There's all the promotional stuff.
Go to the side angle. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think he has 4, but the way they kind of move, like depending on
his right foot, your left side of the screen, I think that little like almost like thumb claw, but I think that's his 4th toe. It's just slightly raised.
So I love the 4-toe gun. Like that's like a high side thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Showa's a 3-toe thing.
Really?
Yes.
I did not realize. So again, I'm newer to this universe than most people.
So here you go.
4 toes here.
4-toe.
Oh, we got a 3-toe here.
Go up there.
Oh, I see it.
Always
Okay.
three
Okay.
toes.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 toes a show a thing. 4 toes.
You learn something new every day.
Hi, sai.
Yeah, Wanda, the dorsals are amazing. That's my favorite part of this whole design.
And we already got SH Monster Arts. Looks like they're
I might buy my first Godzilla figure.
They're sick of Haya's bullshit, and now they're coming out with this. I do love the spikes here. I love the skin. There's really not
everything about this design is great.
I love that we're using toy pictures as
it's fine.
Like, because there's not entirely.
Well, there's not a lot of stuff out. SH Monster Arts released this,
yeah.
So you might as well go with it.
So one thing that I wish that he would have kept from his original design, I'm a sucker for the white eyes.
Really?
Yeah, I think white eyes just makes him look so much meaner.
Maybe that's your TMNT influence.
Well, and also like GMK is one of my favorites because of that aspect. Like, and then one of the things that I don't particularly like going through the design here is, again, because the original one you can tell is very GMK influenced. Big teeth, big eyes. He's got the big features. This is where this leans more towards Legendary, like where you get that mashup. Very tiny eyes, very tiny teeth.
Do you not like any of the Legendary monsters?
I like Legendary Godzilla. I think his design is good for what it is, but
it's lacking in certain points.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, all right, from a toy perspective, right? Would you rather not have something with eyes this tiny or eyes this big? That's So some features like that kind of lean itself more towards more toyetic, so to speak. But just from a design standpoint, like I don't like the beady eyes. Like I've always liked the big eyes. Like even like Gino from '98 has the big eyes. But that's a nitpick. I really do like the design. I can't wait to see it in motion.
So Wander wants to know, do you wish the dorsals were more the bone white yellow as opposed to the all one color?
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of
you like it that so you're looking at a more differentiated coloring on his dorsals.
Well, this is also where the Legendary mashup kind of gets in there, because one of my biggest knocks on the Legendary design is when he's not a bluefin, when he's not charged up and doing anything, his design's very boring.
It's just one color.
Yeah, he's different shades of gray and brown, sure.
But
the one thing that I've always liked about Godzilla is he has the contrast on his spikes.
I mean, this is a drastic example, but like the dorsals on here are like blue, and then there's a silver topping. He's always had that kind of contrast on his dorsals.
Yeah, Legendary is what knocked that
out, right?
Took that away. Unless your Millennium did too, but Millennium spikes were colorful. They had the purple spikes.
Chris wants to know if you're sad that practical effects Godzilla is basically dead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad that practical effects in general just seem to be dead.
Yeah, no, it's true. A lot of practical effects in stuff is just few and far between. But when it does happen, I feel like it makes it all the more special. But yeah, no, I mean, I see what you're saying.
It's again. We'll have to show you that trailer before you leave. But like the Coffee Boss commercial really did give hope to like this can be done. But I guess it's just too much of a challenge. Probably.
It comes down to now, and it's sad to say, but it comes down to budget. Like, if it's cheaper to CGI something and CGI something well, I'm not going to say it's like CGI is the answer, but if you can do a good job of it, I don't see why you can't use it, especially if it's a lower price than the practical effect. The practical effect, I always prefer that because I like things to be natural, and I'm an analog guy to the end. Coming from an IT professional. I would love to see more practical effects and things, but I also understand why it doesn't exist. Like, it's... You want to get out as much of a movie as you can. Obviously, actors want to be paid. Crew wants to be paid. It comes down to decision-making. You try to balance it.
Yeah. And what's crazy, too, is... the director here is the director, the writer, and the special. He did everything on this.
He did everything on it. Yeah.
Which is like mind blowing. Like
this is
weird.
Like,
this is like his movie, like through and through. Like if this movie sucks, it's because of this one guy.
It's true.
Like, there's no, you can't blame.
He did do the visual effects.
You can't blame anything but yourself if you're doing it all. And then one of the things that I really love in the trailer, the short glimpse that we get, is like we added the the Oppenheimer quote, but like this feels like the movie that we were promised in 2014 with the American Godzilla that we ended up not getting, and it was all just a facade.
That movie in and of itself it's just a movie is really what it is, and that's kind of like sad to say it that way. Like, it's fine for what it is, and I guess you could call it a monster movie, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's fine, but it shouldn't be just fine, especially because you're trying to bring life to basically a new franchise to a new audience.
Yeah, it's just, you did a complete 180, because again, and I hope this movie, it is not going to do the same. It doesn't give any indication that it will, based on the quick, like, it looks like every step or everything Godzilla does is going to be absolutely devastating. The fact, he swipes his tail and an entire thing's leveled.
Yeah.
He takes a step, the ground breaks, and because that's what it should be. Like, everything that he does, and that's where 14, you could tell, had those elements. But then I always felt like Garrett Edwards' original vision was to do that. But then whoever was running Legendary at the time wanted that Showa aspect.
Where Godzilla was more the good guy than anything else.
And that's where that movie kind of has this weird, like, it kind of turns into a different movie out of nowhere.
So I feel you on that, because you and I were like, oh, they're coming out with a Godzilla Crichton collection. And you and I are both, at the time, we're big DVD guys. And we're like,
DVD, Blu-ray guys, yes.
I need this in my life. So I bought that collection. And I watched the original Godzilla in its entirety for the first time, I think, as an adult. And there's that super, like, dark scene where the mother is holding the child and is just like, don't worry, we'll see father soon, like, type of thing. And you get, like, that's the first instant where you're like, oh, shit, like, Godzilla's not a good guy. Like, you don't root for him.
No.
You don't root for him at all. And then, like, and I feel like later iterations, you lose that. You lose that whole dynamic.
Well, I think that was kind of the thing why, and I've said this before on Kaiju Live and stuff, why I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong was as popular as it was, because it finally took this Godzilla, even for me. I always liked the Legendary design, but it was never like up there for me, because I don't fall in love with designs just based on their look. So the actions of like what they do in the movie really matters more to me. So I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong, that what kind of got everyone really hyped on Legendary Godzilla was because he acted more what everyone wanted, what American audiences wanted to see from Godzilla, where he's just this force that comes up and wrecks shit.
Yeah. I think
him swimming with the military, and then even in Godzilla King of the Monsters, where like they're basically like carrying him around, like, all right, buddy, go save us from everyone.
Go get him.
Yeah, like, and you're just like, okay.
And you're right. It's definitely like people lose the fact that this is a giant monster that just goes around destroying Japan. Like, that's the whole point. Like, that was the whole premise from the very beginning. And then all of a sudden people are like, no, we want to root for him.
Well, I mean, at some point they decided, like, let's turn it more towards kids.
Yeah.
And again, and then, like, I don't mind Godzilla as the anti-hero either, where, like, he protects, Earth is his home, so he protects his home.
Of course.
Everyone gets destroyed in the process, but hey, that's what's up. So, like, I always like that interpretation probably the most.
Chris wants to know do we hope that this Godzilla has a new beam, like SP Godzilla or Shin?
A new beam? No, I kind of want a classic beam.
If you're going this route, I think, again, because I think it's a more classic stylized, where, again, Godzilla is the villain here. I want a classic beam.
And honestly, if it's really more of a solo movie, I kind of don't want him really using
solo movie.
Beams.
Oh yeah?
Like, once or twice as like a big, like, holy shit, but
like, hold on, let me blow this train station up.
I don't want like Godzilla vs. Kong levels where like he's like going ham with it, like, constantly. What would be really cool, like, if there is that second monster, what would be awesome is if it was Anguirus. Because Anguirus was the second monster in the second movie. And he has not been done in a very long time, like Final Wars, I guess. But we're just not.
Tell me about Final Wars.
I don't want to talk about Final Wars. We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno, no, no, no. We don't talk
That movie is just an abomination. But like this would be an awesome movie to have, where you just got two nuclear beasts just going nuts on each other. There's no good guy, there's no bad guy.
Yeah.
Like that was
It's
kind
just
of the
like
allure.
collateral.
Yeah,
Like everything is just collateral
that
damage.
was what was awesome about Godzilla Raids Again, or Gigantix the Fire Monster, whatever version you want to call it, was that's how it was. These were just two monsters that like
Fighting each
shit,
other, and it's like,
and they
oh,
just
shit,
there's no good guy, there's no bad
Good
guy.
guys.
You're just like, I hope we live. So that would be cool if that's what it ends up being. Who knows? But
Yeah.
that is one of the rumors, that there could be a second monster because of the
Well, that would
other
make
bombing.
sense. There's a second bomb, so obviously.
And I kind of feel like if this is a movie that you want to expand, and maybe as your jump off point for a new Toho Godzilla
Style,
universe or continuity, you got to include other monsters. Godzilla does get kind of stale in that standalone fashion, because what else could you really do?
There's not much. I mean, if you're...
Because 54, 84 kind of have it on lock, like in terms of the solo badass Godzilla.
There's not really much, especially this day and age, in terms of how movies are done. Like, you can't. You have to have somebody to root for, and you need that. You need that in the way it is.
Chris asks, do you think there are implications for Toho made Godzillas if this movie tanked? I think so, man. I really feel like Toho has... I kind of feel like Toho is coming out with this movie just to show they still have it, which they've done in the past. They did that with Godzilla 2000. Godzilla 2000 borrowed a ton of scenes from Godzilla 98 to go like, look, we can do this too.
Mm-hmm. But Shin Godzilla also showed that too.
Well, Shin Godzilla and Legendary Godzilla, they had this like stupid what Godzilla's bigger bullshit going on. Like basically, Legendary Godzilla came out, he was the biggest.
Yeah.
Shin came out, was like, no, we're like 5 meters bigger. And then Legendary Godzilla was like, well, now I'm juiced up, so now I'm bigger. You're like, okay. So they had that like nonsense kind of going on. But Shin Godzilla like really didn't take any shots at Legendary at all.
No, I think Shin Godzilla was just trying to do its own thing.
Yeah.
I think it was just they were like, we're gonna
great.
make a good Godzilla movie, and this is what comes out. I think that did really well.
Yeah, this Godzilla design does look like he's built to fight, and does look like he's very strong.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I want, especially that's the other thing too, because again, he's got that Legendary vibe. Like his arms are big,
Yeah.
so he's a brawler.
Yeah.
Not like Shin Godzilla. Like that was the thing. Like you couldn't really.
Well, we were
Shin-
saying just before, like different angles of this Godzilla, his pecs are more defined, so he looks like he's jacked,
Yeah.
and he's ready to excuse my language, but fuck shit up.
Yeah, no, like so. I hope he goes toe to toe with something other than the military, or at the same time, let this be one of the most gruesome, saddest Godzilla movies in terms of like.
Let me be sad about it.
He just annihilates everything. Like there is no. That's something that I think would be refreshing. No one wins. They don't stop him. The end of the movie can be that traditional Godzilla walks into the sunset after he destroyed
Everything.
Yeah. And that's it. And there's no like, we won.
There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, like it's just like
it's very hard for movies these days to like leave on a bed. No.
I know.
Like no one likes
People
to not
want
give you
heroes. People want heroes. People want not necessarily happy endings, but endings that feel satisfying. And most of the time, when the villain wins, it's not really satisfying. And it's not even like Godzilla's a villain. He's doing Godzilla things. Like he's an animal. He runs on instinct. He's defending himself. But at the same time, we're defending ourselves. So like, who's the real villain?
We are. We created them. We're assholes. We can't just leave shit alone.
Welcome to humanity.
Yeah, basically. Blue Oyster Cult, baby. But Yeah, I really do love that.
Bill thinks that this won't tank because it's getting an international release.
That is actually true. Yeah, it's basically coming out a month from the Japanese release.
Really?
The Japanese comes out, I believe, November, and then the U.S. is December 1st. Yeah. So that's one that's never happened.
Really?
No, it's like the Shin Godzilla was out for months and months before
we got it.
And that was a very, very limited release that the Alamo did.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't like that was in any theater.
No, I know.
Like that was just an Alamo thing.
You were like when you told me about it, you were all hyped. You're like, "Yo, Shin Godzilla showing at Alamo. Let's go."
Yeah, so this is gonna be like a full. So Toho's definitely putting a lot behind this to kind of compete with Legendary Godzilla, because I mean, this is gonna be crazy. As monster fans, Godzilla fans, like we're getting 2 Godzilla movies within a year of each other in theaters. Like that's
a lot.
It's never happened. Like, I mean, I guess Godzilla 98 and Godzilla 2000 being like 3 years apart, but
Audrey says she sure hopes that the movie harkens back to Shin and 54 Godzilla somehow.
I don't think they're gonna harken back to Shin.
I don't
think they can.
I don't think they can either.
Because I'm pretty sure Anno owns Shin. Like Shin Godzilla is like his some magical way. Like everything that he does,
his
is
design.
Like,
that's it.
That's
his Godzilla.
He owns everything about that Godzilla. I don't think Toho would have to seek approval
from him
to basically make a callback. I think I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Like
I feel like Shin has always stood out on its own. Not just as a movie, but as a design on its own. I remember how hyped you were when that design came out. You were like, "Yo,
it was badass." Yo. It was like the Freddy Krueger version of Godzilla.
Yeah,
basically. It was just it was 1954 if Freddy took over him. Basically, it was crazy. No wonder I did forget Final Wars. Don't worry, I've always forgotten Final Wars. The only reason why I still remember Final Wars is because people bring him up in the chat sometimes. I try so very hard to forget Final Wars.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about Final Wars? But tell us all about it,
dude. It's after coming off GMK, how do you put out that movie? Because again, GMK, while it has its flaws and would have been better served if it had its original monsters, Anguirus and Varon, instead of Mothra and Ghidra, which kind of throws the movie off a little bit, at least for me, because I just don't buy King Ghidra being a good guy. It just falls short for me.
I can't ever picture Ghidra being a good guy.
It plays a little bit because they basically made Godzilla like the ultimate badass in that movie. Like and there are people saying that because obviously he was inspired by GMK back when he made that, what Godzilla represents in that movie is like he is like the embodiment of all the people that died.
Mm-hmm.
He's all those souls, and this is like them seeking vengeance. Apparently, this Godzilla is tied to that as well. But yeah, so that'd be cool if that's what he represents. Which I mean, based on the design, I could totally see that being a thing. I would also rather not watch Godzilla 98 over Final Wars. At least Godzilla 98, whether I like that version of Godzilla or not.
I remember seeing that as a kid in theaters.
It's a good monster movie.
I love that movie. I love it. My brother is 12 years younger than I am, just to give you an example. He was born in 1998. We used to watch that on VHS when he was like 5. Like he loved that movie. He really did. And that was like the movie we like, I don't know, kind of grew up on as like a kid, like because we watched that, and then the animated series came out based off that we loved.
Yeah, the animated series was great.
Yeah.
So now Thirsty just brought up something awesome. Hoping for a green beam.
Ooh.
Now, green to me represents Gino. So the animated series has the green fire.
That's true.
And we've never seen it other than that. So that would
also kind of like.
That would be kind of.
I feel like that'd be kind of cool and like make sense in the environment that it's
honestly,
in.
I kind of wish it's just white.
Just white.
I mean, if you're not
a fan of the blue.
No, I am, but like if you're trying to really stand out, like why not
as an individual movie? In itself?
Like give them a white beam. I mean, it actually looked awesome with. They just did that short with Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex CGI, where that Godzilla was supposed to be the junior Godzilla Jr. from Godzilla vs. Destroyer.
Mhm.
Like this is him like growing up, and he had like a second power level type thing where like he got all white and then his beam was white.
That's
So it's
cool.
not like white can't.
White. It's not. Yeah,
and
you're
then,
not saying
like,
like
for me, too,
white
like,
can't be done.
You could make his eyes go white, which would be a callback. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, just straight white hotness.
The white hotness.
But yeah, I hope it's not like it doesn't seem like it's gonna, like, it can't really be a beam war movie because,
Yeah.
again, the Godzilla itself looks like it's built for brawling. So if there is another monster, I expect it to be like brutal,
I feel like.
especially if it's angers.
So
then-
it's a
which
50, honestly, it's a 50-50 shot. So if they're going to stay true to like classic style Godzilla, they'll do it solo movie. Like it'll just be him. But if they're trying to appeal to more audiences, where you're trying to lean into the whole anti-hero aspect,
I don't. Again,
I
you
think
can
he's-
do two monsters where there's no anti-hero.
I know.
Everyone loses, and I hate to be the guy that's rooting for that.
Mhm.
But I kind of like, if you, to me, to give us something different, this might be a movie where just everyone loses.
I mean, and I
There's-
think it could pull it off because of where it sits in terms of like it's not quite legendary Godzilla and it's not quite like,
Yeah.
classic Godzilla. It sits in that in between, so it really has a lot of freedom to do what it wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I love everything about it so far. The
I'm
trailer.
gonna say it again. I love the spike. Give me
Yeah.
a spike.
Yeah, the spikes are great.
The spikes are great.
Yeah, it's just, they're like, how big can we make them? The guy's like, I don't know, how big
I
can
don't know
you make?
how big do you want them?
Yeah, how big can you make them where they don't look overly ridiculous?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get right to that
Get
point.
right to that point.
And
Honestly, I could see him using that more as like weaponizing them in some way. Like, a monster jumps on his back and he just slams into them and stabs them
yeah,
with
I mean,
spikes.
all he has to do is jump backwards at people.
Yeah, or do the spin thing. Come
Oh,
on,
God.
roll into a spin thing. Do it.
Yeah, slide on
it.
your tail, but then like as you get to you turn backwards. And
Exactly. And just slam into them. Do it.
what are your thoughts on Godzilla -1? Drop it in the comments. Please like, share, all that jazz.
Yes,
I hope
please do.
you enjoyed this Monday Night Live version of the Square Table. I don't think there's going to be many more of these. This was
we basically try to do it whenever either of us have a schedule that
yeah,
aligns.
we were supposed to do it Sunday, but I didn't realize Kelly booked a second night at the hotel. We had a nice family gathering out of Massachusetts, so couldn't make it. And then
Yeah,
Avandro had a D&D session planned for tonight
I did.
that ended up
I did.
getting canceled.
That's because most of my players were hungover. So.
So we were like, you know what? Let's do it, because I'm actually going to Mexico this weekend, so there will be no
There will be no show.
there
this
will be
weekend.
no show. Might not be no show this week or next week, because then when we come back from Mexico, now we're taking the kids to Dutch Wonderland.
Oh my god.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be alive.
Dude.
I might need a day for myself to recover. We'll see what happens. But if a bunch of crazy stuff gets announced,
We might
got-
just do another
we
weeknight
gotta
show.
talk about it. Yeah,
Might need to do a weeknight show.
it might be a Thursday night, because Thursday's our day of nothing.
I'm-
We come back Wednesday, and then
Sounds great.
Thursday is a.
Sounds great. You know me.
We have been talking about doing Saturdays as well.
I think we'll just keep doing it like by ear. Basically,
Yeah.
we'll shoot for Sundays and then see what days work out. Well, we're glad we had so many viewers tonight. Like that was great.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. We love having you guys.
Sorry, Audrey. I think you were having audio problems. We're gonna have to check the tape. I don't think that happened.
We'll have to go back and check the tape. But thank you guys. We appreciate it. Tune in next time, and remember, all rectangles are squares. No, all squares are rectangles.
Wow.
All squares are
Butchered it.
rectangles. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Thank you, and good night.
Like and subscribe, and be on the lookout for more content from Kaiju Live. Have a good night, everybody.